Hello everyone, welcome to Midweek Gaming. I'm Nick on the side of the comms, of course, Justin providing audio commentary in his own brand of insanity where and wherever possible. We don't have a script on this show, so we just play it by ear, so forgive us if we sound weird. Speaking of weird, it's been an interesting week, or interesting day, well, yesterday I should say at this point, in the games industry. We finally got the Switch 2 revealed! Yay! After months of rumors
years
and
years
whispers.
of torment.
Whispers in the shadows from the Nintendo wheels, from the windowsills of the Mushroom Kingdom. We finally have an official Switch 2 reveal. The thing does exist. We've now seen what it looks like. Nintendo of America and presumably Nintendo of Japan on their YouTube channel has put out a video showcasing the Switch compared to the Switch 2. It's like this animation they have where the Switch turns into the Switch 2. It's kind of nice, not gonna lie. Link in the description if you want to see that. We also got the date for the Nintendo Direct, which that will be showing more details. They didn't tell us when it'll release or anything. They just told us that it's a thing. Here it looks like. Come back, what was it, April 2nd this year, and learn more. They have said that it's a 2025 thing, though, so since we're waiting until April to... my bloody clock. Since we're waiting until April to... I'm just gonna let that ding, actually. We're gonna have to listen to me over the clock. Yeah, now it stops going. Yeah, whatever. Since they're saying wait till April until, and learn more then, I'm guessing it's gonna be maybe a summer release? Like, we could wager... Like, what do you think, Justin? December or summer release? What's your take?
I'm going to say probably... Knowing Nintendo, I want to say maybe, like, early to maybe midsummer?
My thinking, too. Like, because December feels too late, right? Like,
yeah, it honestly feels too late.
If they're going to do 2025, I mean, it makes sense, right? You're going out for the summer, people are going to want to take their electronics with them, yada, yada, yada. I mean, sure, you could do that whole Christmas sale thing, but I mean, if they're revealing it this early, I don't know. It just feels like something... You're already making people wait like 4 months compared to when you released it. Well, sure, showed it off as of this month, like January 17th. Why make people wait longer? Like, wait 4 months, now wait another 2 months. Like,
Yes.
it just doesn't make sense.
Yes.
But
no,
anyways,
chances are it's gonna be like a early summer release.
That's my thinking. I mean, we were talking before the show. Perhaps the reason they're doing this is that they want to kind of get ahead of the problems that happened with the last time the Switch released, and the Xbox, and the PlayStation after it, or vice versa. Again, I can't remember which one came first. Where basically they released them and they showed them off pretty much around the same time, and so they were quickly swapped up from the market. I think they famously did that with PlayStation, with the PlayStation 5. They showed it off pretty much the same time they said it was on the market, like a few weeks to a few days, or maybe even the same day of, where they're like, it's a thing, it's out right now. And so people just bought it up en masse, and so if you weren't around to watch the thing, like, God help you if you didn't hear about the announcement when it first happened, you just wouldn't get it. Or you're going to go through the scalpers who sold it for like 6 to 4 times the price. So it was just kind of that thing of like, ooh, which caused console shortages, and that delayed a whole generation, and that compounded with the chip shortages, which caused the console shortages on top of it, just exacerbated the issue. It's just maybe the whole reason they're showing it off like 4 months ahead of time and just saying mark the date and we'll tell you then is so, you know, everyone can hear about it, everyone can mark the date, and everyone who's interested can, you know, lock in for that date kind of thing. So maybe they're just trying to get ahead of that mess so it doesn't happen a second time, or they mitigate it a second time. That's my thinking, though.
Yeah.
On the topic of to itself, though, I mean, it's basically the Switch except bigger. Granted, there's one big difference. The Switch 2 actually has different, well, not different Joy-Cons, but the Joy-Cons are handled differently. Now, everyone probably knows the famous snapping of the Joy-Cons for the Switch 1. I mean, for God's sake, Nintendo used it in all their bloody marketing, so there's that. Well, they're not actually looking to go for that this time. It seems instead of like a slide on and off, which in fairness can be a bit of a pain in the neck if you ask me, especially with the massive case I have. It seems they're actually going for more of like a pop-in, you could say. So instead of a slide-in, there's actually 2 USB ports on the side of the unit, and it looks like the Joy-Cons are just going to clock onto those, and that'll be how you put it on and off. I imagine it might. I want to say a magnet, but then again, anyone with knowledge of electronics probably guesses magnets plus electronics equals danger. So, maybe it's something else? I don't know. I'm guessing magnet, but I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. As for the Switch itself, it's bigger. Obviously, it's bigger. I mean, anyone who knows the first Switch knows that it was pretty compact as is. Like, I believe I remember hearing Nintendo spending like a crack ton of time on R&D trying to fit as much tech into the machine as possible to get it as small as possible, because it was about, making it as small as possible for portability's sake. And the Switch is what they finally landed on. So they were kind of hitting a roadblock, and everyone figured that, okay, Switch 2 is obviously going to be more powerful, which is one of the big critiques of the first Switch, is that it's not as powerful. Like, even when it first came out, it was not as powerful as people wanted it to be. But again, that was a sacrifice for the sake of portability. Maybe they're just saying to hell with it, and they made it bigger, which is kind of the only way they can make it stronger. It looks, at least according to this image or trailer, I should say, thicker as well. So maybe they're not only making it bigger, but also thicker.
I would say overall, like, CPU, GPU, and all that probably has been boosted, probably along the same lines like the Steam Deck, because I have a feeling Nintendo and all them saw how like the Steam Deck was performing and thought, you know what, maybe we could go and put a little more into the whole mobile computer type thing, and they're probably going to boost the Switch 2 to have roughly that kind of capability set in a way where it's a lot more powerful overall.
I could definitely see that. I mean, the mobile gaming space, not like mobile gaming, but like
this weird
how I say
hodgepodge
this
between like laptop and like little Nintendo DS type thing. Like,
yeah,
it's
I know.
this weird in between.
I've come to a point where I used to be able to say mobile game, and you would be like, oh yeah, the DS and yada yada yada. Now I say mobile game, people are like, Genshin Impact, Fate Stay Night, like no, not Temple Run.
Yeah.
Did I just show my age by saying Temple Run? Does anyone play that anymore? Oops.
I remember that in
whatever.
high school.
If you don't know Temple Run, look it up. That'll tell you our age. Long ago, in the land of Mordor. But yeah, they've kind of always had the kind of shtick in the mobile gaming space. Like, there have been people who've tried to challenge them in the past. Like, if anyone remembers PS Vita or not even VR, PS Vita and the other thing that came out, I think it was like the Vita 2 or something like that. Like, PlayStation tried to get into like the mobile gaming space, the portable. That's the term. Yeah, they've tried. They tried to get into the portable gaming space, but Nintendo doesn't like it when you play in their sandbox, and they quickly boot out anyone who tries. So maybe the as you kind of say, Justin, the kind of the oh my god, the thing you just said, whose name I cannot bloody reason. The Steam Deck. Yeah, the Steam Deck. The success of the Steam Deck, as you probably say, kind of made them be like, okay, we're maybe getting a little ousted here. Plus, as you say, we could probably do that too. Kind of like a proof of concept in a way. Maybe the Steam Deck was a way of kind of inattentional proof of concept. Like, hey, it works, so why can't we do that? As for what kind of strength it'll have, I mean, it's the Switch, so I still wouldn't expect 4K gaming, but you never know, right?
Yeah, you'd never really fully know. I mean, for all we know, they might be boosting it up a lot more, and you never know.
Yeah, it depends on how much they can cram into that little machine, I guess. I mean, they made it bigger, like we said, and possibly wider. So,
yeah.
Can you just imagine that? New from Switch 2, 4K gaming with ray tracing.
Yeah. High TTL graphics here.
I mean, the games they're putting on Steam Deck nowadays, like, when I was in Scotland, when I was in my first semester of university, I'm actually in Canada right now, I'm on vacation, well, I'm going back to Canada, that digress. So anyways, while I was in Scotland, I went to a place called, not Sainsbury's, frickin' Curry's. Curry's is basically UK Best Buy, if you're not aware. And I saw Switch games, and I'm like, okay, what do they got in the Switch aisle these days? I didn't bring my Switch with me, and I'm not going to do that when I go back, but I'm like, okay, what do they have in the Switch games? Hogwarts Legacy. I have that for PlayStation 5. I know that game. I know what it requires, and I think Switch? Hogwarts Legacy?
Yeah.
Ooh, that just ain't gonna run well. That just ain't gonna run well. So it's like, I don't know. I almost want to take those games that I know definitely wouldn't run well on the Switch, buy them, and just see how they play on the Switch too, just for comparison. I feel like people are going to do that, just to compare the capabilities of the unit. Probably at the Nintendo Direct in April, we're going to get told the capabilities, but I mean, nothing beats seeing it for yourself, I guess. But
you never know.
That's you never know for sure. Another interesting point about the Switch 2 is that if you actually look in the fine print of the release for the Switch 2, it actually shows that, here we go, here's the frame. You can't see it, I'm pulling it up on my side. Should pause this. No, back, here we go. Now, it states that the Nintendo Switch 2, and this is a big one, this is something that was talked about for a long time. When the Switch 2 was first talked about, the big thing, for a little backstory, is that people were afraid that the Switch wasn't going to play the games, or the Switch 2 wasn't going to play the games with the Switch. And the reason was, and this is kind of something that some of the devs in the industry were talking about, and this is kind of true. Because here's the thing, right? What moves a console? Well, games move a console. But the problem is that a lot of consoles have, is when you go from one generation to the next, when there's backwards compatibility, and I'm guessing this is why a lot of consoles didn't do this for the longest time. The DS's did it, and like, I think the consoles did, not really, the consoles never really did it. But the reason why they don't, or didn't, is because when you move from one generation to the next, there's really no incentive to buy new games, like not new consoles, but new games, because you have such a backlog of old games. Like, think about it. If you have 100 plus old games, and then a new game comes out for the new console, I mean, you might buy the new console, because you probably will, because it's better hardware, it runs better, it's faster, yada yada yada, but you might not buy the new game because, well, you got 100 old games to play.
Yeah.
So console producers and game manufacturers are kind of in that alliance where they're like, okay, we won't intentionally support old games even though we can, just so we can help sell your games, which helps sell our units, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That was kind of the talking point between them, and a lot of Switch game creators were like, will you do that? Because new Switch 2 games might not get sold as well because of the 100 plus Switch games that are already out. And it turns out Nintendo eventually did say no, and this reveal does officially state that no, because at the end of the trailer, they say that, quote, plays Nintendo 2 Switch exclusive games, so the new games for the Switch, as well as Nintendo Switch games. So it's official, you heard it from Nintendo themselves, the games for the one will work on the other. To a point.
Compatible to some extent.
To a point, because the fine print right under this big tagline is for detailed, and we'll get into it. Nintendo Switch 2 plays both physical and digital Nintendo Switch games. Certain Nintendo Switch games, however, may not be supported on or fully compatible with the Switch 2. Details will be shared on Nintendo's website at a later date, presumably when they get more of the kinks ironed out. So that's interesting. So the Switch 2 plays the Switch 1 games. Mostly. Certain ones will not either be fully supported or just incapable of compatibility. Now the question that rises on my mind, why? Because here's the thing, right? When you look at the Switch 1 and the Switch 2, like literally on this image they have where they show this fact that the one will play the other games, it literally shows the Switch 1 and the Switch 2 side by side. And they look pretty much the same. Now, internals and externals can vary drastically, I know this, I was in the tech field. But my guess is they're not going to do too much to the internals for the sake of cross-compatibility. I mean, when you really think about it, right? The Switch 1 and the Switch 2, I mean, is just probably a super beefed up version of the Switch 1. So what exactly is inside this thing that is preventing it from playing the games from the first generation? Or certain games from the first generation?
There has to be some element within the games themselves that is making it very difficult for the hardware, which makes you wonder what is that element of the hardware.
Precisely. And my guess, just looking at what we see so far, which again is admittedly pretty preliminary, is it might have to do with the Joy-Cons. We mentioned earlier in the show that the way the Joy-Cons are being handled in the Switch 2, because let's be honest, they're probably being called Joy-Cons because Nintendo's not giving up that marketing name, let's just be frank here. they're probably going to be handled, well, they are handled differently in the Switch 2 compared to the Switch 1. The Switch 1 has them as, you know, you slip them on, whereas the other one you have them click on, for lack of a better term. So maybe something in how they integrate with the full unit itself doesn't talk well with certain games. Like, maybe certain games are programmed to have that kind of slide mechanic factor in somehow. I admit I'm grasping at straws here, but that's the only thing I can think about at this early stage. It might come down to how the Joy-Cons are programmed, and how they compare to the Switch 1 to the Switch 2. That's just my thinking. Again, we might be wrong, though. And it could be something completely different, purely related to software. I don't know.
Yeah. We're not really gonna know, really, until it actually comes out. Until the Switch 2 comes out, nobody's really gonna be able to get their hands on it and be able to get like a detailed look into what can and can't.
I can already see the Jailbreak 2 Switch videos.
Yeah, so we're kind of gonna have to wait on that one. But from what we can speculate right now, chances are there's probably gonna be some games that are going to likely be difficult to play.
Curious as to which ones, though. I myself have a pretty extensive library of Switch games. I obviously own a Switch. I pretty much own everything. So I am curious which ones will or will not be playable, and I hope it's none of them in my collection. Or if it is, it's hopefully none of the ones I play often. Dang it, my clock's going off again.
Yes.
Hopefully you can't hear that in the video. Probably not. But anyways, another interesting fact about the Switch 2 is not so much an interesting fact, it's just kind of a little observation. The color scheme. The Switch 1 and the Switch 2 differ in color because the Joy-Cons come out of the box pretty colorful. Red and blue. You know, kind of that, nice little color set. Versus the Switch 2, which doesn't have any color. Not on the outside anyway. Well, somewhat. The little rings on the Joy-Con, the joysticks of the Joy-Con. Now, for those who haven't seen it already, the Joy-Cons, at least structurally, look the same as the Switch 1. So the actual joysticks now have rings around them, which are actually colored, but the entire Joy-Con itself isn't, except the inside. For when you pull off the Joy-Con on the inside, the actual bit that connects to the unit, as well as the actual color inside the Switch itself, it seems matches the Joy-Con itself. So it's like you've got like this little, I guess, red tan color on one side, and then you've got the blue on the other side, which again matches the Joy-Con's internal, which again shows blue. It's kind of funny that they're scrapping the colorful scheme for the Joy-Con's exterior and kind of making it as more of an interior thing. I wonder if they're doing that more to assist with people like putting the Joy-Cons on and off. I mean, call me crazy here, but you want to put the joysticks facing the screen and you, which means you're probably not putting them the wrong way around, but hey, what do I know? I'm not the Nintendo R&D department.
You never know. Maybe
I'm not
they're
Nintendo
creating tech, and they want to go and allow one side to be backwards to allow for like multiple players, and like one player doesn't get to see the screen or something.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not Nintendo's R&D department.
Or that's unless it's like the weird people who like play with controllers backwards for some reason. And like have the controller,
the challenge run,
like the controls
it
not facing them, but they'll play it that way somehow.
They'll just have it hooked up to the TV for like a challenge run, and they'll have the controller facing them with the screen facing away. Blind challenge, let's go. Blind Mario Party, let's go. I don't know. One interesting fact about the Joy-Cons, and I don't remember if this is on the original Joy-Cons or not. I don't think so, though. Is that it actually looks like there's actually a power indicator on each of the Joy-Cons that looks to be facilitated by like a light. I don't remember if that's on the original Joy-Cons or not. I'll have to check, but I don't think so. So that'll allow you to kind of independently monitor each Joy-Con's power level just by looking at it.
Right.
I don't know if that is a thing on the originals. Hold on, let me just look at the Switch one for a second that's shown here. I don't know. I don't think there is that kind of thing. No, there is. It's on the inside. It's on the inside. But in this case, it's actually facing the person holding the Joy-Con. It's not actually on, like, the side of the Joy-Con, so you don't have to kind of, like, tilt it to see it. you can just kind of look at the Joy-Con and just see the power level. So that's kind of more convenient, I guess. You don't have to kind of move your Joy-Con around to check the power level. You can just kind of, look at it directly.
You see it a lot more easily.
Yeah, so that's convenient. All in all, though, that's kind of what we see about the Switch 2 for now. It's, like I said, more simple color scheme. Presumably, they might sell different Joy-Con colors. They already do now, so I don't see why they won't the next time. It's bigger. Presumably, it's stronger. And it's coming out in 2025 at some point. Our wager is summer... early summer? Midsummer? I don't know. It's in April, so maybe mid to early summer. And yeah, that's kind of what we see about the Joy-Con, that's what we see about the Switch 2 for now. What do you think, Justin? Any grand thoughts you want to share?
Hopefully you Switch enjoyers will be able to enjoy your Nintendo Switch very soon.
My brain was thinking you were trying to go for a thing where you put, like, Switch 100 times in a single sentence.
What?
I don't know.
What? What?
No. The way you said Switch, my brain was like, he's gonna put Switch, like, 100 times in one sentence, isn't he? Like, Switch. I don't know. What? I don't know. That's just how my brain works. I don't know. That's just how my brain works. But, anyway.
Sir, the grammar police would like to know your location.
But yeah. Again, it's interesting to see, like I said, that they've gone for a single color for the main unit and kind of like colors on the internals. Maybe that's again for accessibility. I don't know. And it's bigger. Again, we already talked about how cramped the original unit was, so their only real choice to make it stronger was to make it bigger. One final closing thought I will actually say, though. One of the things people kept talking about in the Switch 1's lifecycle is the possibility of a Switch Pro. Kind of like a mid-gen thing. And they never did that to mine. Well, they kind of did. They had an OLED, which is more of an increase to the screen, which kind of makes me wonder how they'll handle the screen going into the Switch 2. Will they like have the OLED as like the base version, or will they just kind of take that feature out? I don't know. Usually when it comes to pros, usually they have like all the mid stuff that goes into the next generation unit. So maybe the OLEDs will get incorporated into the Switch 2 and that'll jack up the price, but we'll have to wait and see. But again, they never really did a pro in terms of like overall power outage. They just kind of did it for like the screen, which really wasn't an upgrade, more of a side grade if anything. So we'll see how this new generation performs.
Soon enough.
With retrospect to the old one. Soon enough. I definitely will be watching that one. Maybe we'll do live coverage, maybe we won't. We'll see what happens by then. And, yeah, hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all interested. Again, fascinated to see that the Switch 2 finally got revealed. And, yeah, it's pretty much everything I thought it would be. So, there you go. Hope you all enjoyed. Have a good week, everyone. Have a good one. And we'll see you all next week. Have a good one.